So we know very well that Disney has delayed the Snow White remake, regrettably, but then at the same time, there are some other good silver linings that are there that I've explained ad nauseum, and it mostly involves more opportunity time for Rachel Zegler to say stupid things. But yes, pushing the Disney remake, or I'm sorry, the Snow White remake, off until 2025 gives Disney plenty of opportunity to finish filming, do pickups, a couple of reshoots here and there, refine it to make sure that it's not a complete and total bomb. Like, obviously the production budget, and given the additional 1 year where you're going to have more interest on those loans in order to make things possible. So yeah, $330 million budget. What are they going to do with that? I think that's probably too much for them to completely and totally can the project like Batgirl it was from DC earlier this year. I don't think that that's fully going to happen with this. We are eventually going to see those CGI dwarf monstrosities on the silver screen to everyone's dismay. But it's very emblematic because a lot of people are reading into all of the catastrophes that are going on at Disney right now, how a disordered house the mouse truly operates in right now. Because from every single corner that's out there, you can see, stock prices are down. Even South Park, taking shots, naming names, and claiming scalps. It's not a good look for them. But hey, okay, like if they don't want to raise the budget of the film, of the Snow White remake, when it eventually does come out and they still have some other things, or maybe, okay, they don't want to pay the exorbitant fee to get Rachel Zegler back onto the set because she spent 18 hours a day in that dress and she deserves to get paid for every hour that film is streamed. And by the time that it hits streaming services, there might be like 3 streaming services left, but that's all right. That's okay. If they don't want to pay the fee on that and they want to go outside the confines of a unionized actors, hey man, we got to stand in for that one because, man, they're just what a troll. It's like Dylan knows exactly what that's doing, obviously, because you turn up at a Halloween party dressed as Snow White right now, where it's like the biggest hot button thing in all of Hollywood. You know exactly what time it is. I respect the hustle, not the individual. I think that that's just perfectly a sign of, it's terrifying as well, staring directly into my soul. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stare off to camera right. But how is it, of the 2 simultaneous live action Snow White films that are in development, how does this tranny manage to get the hair correct and nobody else does? It's so goddamn wild because, female Ben Shapiro, Brett Cooper, that's her name. That's probably the most distracting thing from that Daily Wire hodgepodge, which is, it's going to be great, guys. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going to care about it. It's already fucking forgotten. Okay, but that's probably the worst thing because it kind of elongates Brett Cooper's skull. That kind of makes her look like she's not doing a Snow White live action remake. She's just instead doing an Aliens live action remake with a fucking xenomorph crown. It's kind of fucking weird, okay? It's like Snow White long braids. Maybe that's in the traditional, Brothers Grimm source material. Who knows exactly, but if you're going to be sticking directly to the Brothers Grimm source material, it's going to get a little bit complicated when you get to the old gang rape scene at the end with all of the dwarves. But hey, man, that's for you guys to decide and ultimately deal with it as you will. But speaking of Disney, and speaking of Daily Wire as well, we have somebody who used to work for the former and currently is employed or has a contract with the latter. And we're talking Gina Carano, okay? Somebody who knows about the turmoil over at Disney, in care of LucasFilm, who is also the target of South Park, see how everything weaves together, and then also, had that film that everybody forgot about from Daily Wire. Oh no, it was actually good, fantastic. Nobody cares though, it did absolutely nothing in the societal confines. Okay, wow, he had a strong, empowered girl boss, okay, and the guy was too inept to take care of his family. Ooh, fantastic storytelling. So glad that the company that screams from the top of the roofs, or from the rooftops, like, speaking like one of those fucking, automated YouTube videos, but no, screams from the rooftops that, what happened? Where'd all the masculine men go? We need men to be men. And then you just immediately start making films that are just all about girl bosses. But it's all right. If you're going to be making a girl boss movie, Gina Carano's probably that chick. Okay, like Back in the Cut, man. That was, ooh, buddy. She was her. And she got done exceptionally dirty. I think that was late 2020. Is that late 2020 or late 2021? No, it would have been 2021 because that was season 2 of Mandalorian. She got shit canned for accurately assessing what it's like for people who are trying to dodge the jab in late 2021. See, that's why it's 2021. They just wanted to live their life, and instead you had the government going around rounding up certain people. And well, she had a fairly apt comparison about a government at a certain point in time, rounding up individuals, putting them into camps, which were definitely happening in places like Australia and certain points in Central Europe. And she ended up, getting taken aside, relieved of her duties at Lucasfilm, offered a struggle session, a 40-person Zoom call, I do believe were the conditions, where she would sit and have to listen to all the people that she offended for an indeterminate amount of time, and that was one of the conditions, and that she would have to undergo several stages of reprogramming in order to maintain her position. It is absolutely as wild as it sounds, and she just decided to go, you know what, no, deuces, I'm gonna go ahead and take off. And since then, she just kind of shitposted on Twitter and does a whole bunch of stuff like that. Goes around to cons, conventions. She's not a con at all. I like Gina Carano. She seems like a great individual, where she has massive amounts of fan support, and she can continue to do that in perpetuity for however the hell long that she wants. But outside of the one interview that I think she did with Ben Shapiro, she'd been very kind of mum on the subject. Might have touched on it when she was doing the Joe Rogan interview, but she's been pretty mum on the subject outside of just giving the deets at the time, but then just kind of moving on from there. But with all of the heat being placed on Kathleen Kennedy, care of the South Park special, she decided to go ahead and illuminate on certain subjects. So she has this fairly long post that we're going to go ahead and read through and see what we can glean from the seedy underbelly of Hollywood at large. Do you always call a woman crazy just because she has more first-hand experience than you and says something you don't like or understand? Bit misogynistic, don't you think? Tisk, tisk. Who's she referring to? Well, there's another, like I said, it's a long one that's out here. Okay, so you have Around the Galaxy supporting the Actors Union. Fucking boo. Okay, so also clipping the initial post that Gina Carano had, which we'll read as well, but in case you were wondering, Gina Carano has lost her goddamn mind. I don't know what the fuck Around the Galaxy is, nor do I really care, but, in response to the South Park thing, okay, Gina Carano put, this is the part where KK demands any YouTubers get censored off of YouTube for sharing and laughing at the hilarious episode. She'll have YouTube disable the thumbs down option because the ratio she'll receive. Then she'll have her publicist ghouls make sure Variety and Hollywood Reporter run hit pieces about South Park creators and their families, smearing their names through every useful idiot she has working under her thumb who would sell out their soul to work at Lucasfilm. She'll activate her online mob to repeat that South Park creators are racist bigot transphobes, and demand the South Park creators publicly apologize by using any words she approves. And finally, she'll demand they subject themselves to the re-education course of 45 people of the Alphabet Mafia Zoom call to sit there and listen to how badly they got their feelings hurt all over a little boop of a South Park episode. Yeah, and what immediately put her on the radar, which go ahead and give you a little bit of additional context there. What initially got everybody pissed off, at least the Disney in regards to Gina Carano, was when they were asking all of their actors and actresses, and yes, they did this, to put their pronouns in their bio, their social media platforms. This was way back in like 2018 or 2019 or something like that. And as a joke, Gina Carano put beep, bop, boop. So that's whenever you see something like that come up, and she references it there. Okay, a little boop. Yeah, of a South Park episode, but maybe, just maybe, the jig is up. Very much so. So this is exactly what she was going through at the time through the struggle session that I mentioned before. I got it a little bit off by saying 40 people. It was 45 people that would have been summoned to said call, but oh no, Gina Carano's lost her goddamn mind. No, that was everything that was going on at the time, accurately summarized and then also analogized to the current situation going on there. So shout out to Gina Carano for also making it funny. Curious if your overlords pay you, or do y'all just go ahead and shove your whole head straight up your ass for free? Fucking beast. I'm guessing for free. Might want to come out for some fresh air. Yeah, exactly, man. Like these people who just want access, man. Like I don't know who the fuck Around the Galaxy, I'd imagine it's probably like a Star Wars-centric podcast, and there's some people that, specifically hone in on certain topics, and without the perpetuity of content being put out on them, they're kind of at a lack of subject material. That's why I talk about anything I want to talk about. I'm not beholden to anybody. I don't get paid off by anybody. There are some videos, there are some topics that do gangbusters when it comes to views, but I don't follow up on them because there's nothing else to say. I could continue to remake the same video over and over again, but you know, that wouldn't be me. That wouldn't be honest. That wouldn't be why you guys tune into the channel, of course. Okay. And then there are other videos, there are other topics that I really want to talk about that don't necessarily do as well, but I'll just continue to talk about it because fuck it. I want to talk about them. You guys tune into the channel, hopefully, because it's me, not because of the subject material that's there. I'm just being as honest as possible, but that's not a consistent, coherent thing that I see out here in the YouTube content creator landscape. Anyways, for some added context, not just for you, but for the people reading, one of the things your overlords asked me to do was to unfollow certain accounts because they said bad things about Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, really? That was a huge red flag for me. Yeah, exactly. It's like, why do you care? It's like, this is another thing, man. Okay, this is what I think. Outside of, you know, like obvious examples, like Gina Carano not included, but women in the workplace, man, I think it's a failed experiment, okay, especially the intersexual workplace. Like, bro, there are certain areas where women are great, and there are certain areas that men are great, but because of the higher proclivity to be susceptible to meaningless critique, which a lot of the people just hate on Kathleen Kennedy, not realizing that, okay, cool, if you fired Kathleen Kennedy, which she says she's definitely out this time around. No, she's going to be there. She left on Friday, but she came back on Monday. Oh my God, there's turmoil at LucasFilms. Like, there's a bunch of people that are just dog shit when it comes to putting out content, critiquing Star Wars, Lucasfilm, the overall banner, okay? So what they say about a certain situation is totally and completely worthless, but the people that actually give a fuck about these projects, okay, the guys who will do multiple hour-long breakdowns of the videos of the movies wanting them to be better, like those are the guys that actually care. If you want to listen to their critiques and, I don't know, maybe learn something, that'd be fantastic. But no, this bitch's ego is so enormous that no, it's a perfect example what's going on there. They said bad things about Kathleen Kennedy. You need to go ahead, you need to unfollow those people. It's so superfluous because you can still read their content. Like, I don't know what the hell to tell you. That looks bad if you go ahead and follow people that critique the company. It's like, do you guys think that you made the most out of that Star Wars purchase that you made? Like, The Force Awakens made $2 billion at the box office. Rise of Skywalker barely made half of that. It just barely cracked $1 billion. Normally, when you're telling a story in a trilogy format, you'd want to peak at the end. You'd have the most interest of the audience at the end. People were pointing out the problems that you made with the second film. And even some people were talking about the problems that you made with the first film as well. But you didn't want to listen to that. You just thought that you had a plan until it came out that you didn't have a plan. Exactly. Critiques can be healthy. Shit talking, obviously, you can go ahead and, you know, disregard that. But telling everybody else to go ahead and adhere by your standards? No. That's not how shit works. If I were the head of one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world, I would know that haters come from the territory. Come with the territory, and that maybe the haters are expressing their thoughts because they actually care about caring. Oh, I didn't actually know this was there. That's a good thing because as long as they care, well, hey, we still have something to work with. Maybe we can win back their hearts, and eventually maybe they did do some good things to add to the conversation, which they do and did. And at the very least, look at they're still buying the product. Look at Mando Season 1. Boom, the healing had begun. Yeah, it was awfully popular, and then there was the other shows that came out in further seasons of The Mandalorian, which, less said, the better. If you are a proper good leader, you learn how to embrace and communicate, not dictate, silence, demand your actors and directors unfollow and shame more than half of your fan base and people who have stuck with the franchise for decades. Yeah, because guess what? The guys reviewing this stuff, the guys critiquing this stuff, they aren't going anywhere. They're going to continue to watch the product for the sheer fact they've got to review it for their audience. So they're inbuilt, okay? You're never going to lose them as fans unless it comes to a point in time where just sheer apathy kicks in, where it's like, can't even be fucking bothered to watch this shit anymore. My audience doesn't even care about this stuff at all. I'm fucking peacing out. But if you made something that was good, if you listen to some of the critiques that were out there, some of the valid criticism, well, guess what? You would get that base energized. And you know what? When there is good commentary that is out there, hell, it even worked on me when it came to something. I'll just, elaborate on that here in a second. But when you energize a creator, when you listen to some of the critiques that are out there, and then they think that, our voice, okay, we're talking to a large portion of the fandom, and now they're starting to get energized by the new changes, and hell, this shit is actually pretty good. even though there's just been years and years of tripe. You've seen that with Andor, like the people who, stuck it out and actually watched that stuff. A lot of people who watched it in totality didn't just think, there's not enough Star Wars stuff. Where's the lightsabers? Where's the blasters? It's too slow. The people that don't have the attention span of a gnat watched through the entire thing and thought, hell, that's actually like a really good ass story. And if you give it the opportunity, you're going to find something that you like over there. And then you followed that up with what came up right afterwards. All right, Ahsoka, which was so boring. God damn it. Like, I'm watching the EFAP coverage of that stuff. Still haven't watched episodes 7 and 8 that got put out. It's like 2 hours, and I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. It's like, I don't even like Star Wars like that. I like the EFAP guys. It's just, fucking shit sucks. Like, you're not going to win me over as somebody who's kind of apathetic about the product. Always have been, probably always will be. But bro, even the people that are watching and critiquing that stuff are like, wow, it's boring. Nothing is happening. Why don't you improve? No, you don't want to improve? And if you did, like I said, you'd energize the creators, you'd energize the fandom. Fuck, it worked with me. They're saying House of the Dragon. I'm looking forward to season 2 because I heard all of what happened with Game of Thrones all the way, with season 8. And then last year in November, I started watching through the series, and it's like, the first season's pretty good. Second season, pretty good. Third season, there's problems. Fourth season, and then 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th are like, wow, that's fucking ass cancer, bro. That's really bad. And then like a lot of the people that were covering House of the Dragon, it's like, oh my god, is it gonna be like season 8 again? And then it started good, and then it just continued to get really good. And then episode 8 of season 1 hit, and it's like, wow, that shit's fantastic. And then episode 9 hit, and it was like, wow, that's kind of ass cancer. And then it just ended on a pretty good note with episode 10. And I'm looking forward to season 2 because guess what? They listened to fans. They didn't make it all about spectacle. They stuck to a nice, controlled story that was the cornerstone of what made Game of Thrones great. Small personal, political conversations, the machinations and the maneuvering that would happen within a house, within a kingdom during a succession crisis. It's very interesting, very well written, and it got a lot of people back. It kept growing episode after episode in viewership. Star Wars, the biggest cinematic franchise in history prior to Disney's acquisition. You could get those fans back. Star Wars is a multi-generational IP, but no. You're so entrenched in your ways. You've become too big to fail. Anyways, let's go back to this. Side note, don't say the Force is female, and then allow only the men to express their political views online. Interesting. I would go ahead and critique that by saying that, the Force is female, and then only allow politically correct stances to be said online, ones that align with the message. But in fact, just drop the ridiculous phrase completely. Yeah, exactly. The Force is female. Well, this current incarnation is, and well, how well is that working out for you? Who's looking forward to that Rey movie that's coming out? Sure it is. One of the problems your overlords are having now is that they've made a lot of people completely stop caring about one of the most beloved franchises in history. And all by bullying, pushing aggressive agendas, and trying to silence the people criticizing them. How are you able to tell stories if you don't understand the ones they identify with are the Empire? Ooh, they are literally trying to squash the little guys, the rebellion. No wonder the storytelling is struggling. They fired and dehumanized people like me who did absolutely nothing wrong, all to virtue signal to people like you, the yes men. But yes men, unfortunately for you and them, do not drive culture. Maybe they were banking on the kids picking up the slack, but one of the best things about the franchise is passing it from generation to share. The competition is too high to throw out something as valuable as that. Why would one generation pass it on when you've disrespected and thrown them away? Exactly, you shit on an entire generation. Star Wars is a male brand, but I forget who pointed this out, and I thought it was a really, really, really good point. And if I can think about who made this at any point in time, I will definitely give them credit, because I didn't come up with this idea, but it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. Disney, in the traditional fashion, is a female brand. Think of all the Disney princesses. Think about all the stories that they would tell from their first party productions. intrinsically female. So, in order to try to appeal to the young male demographic, the ones that grow up and normally, drive the purchasing options, when it comes to entertainment, yeah, you go out there and you buy up Marvel, you buy up ESPN, and yes, you buy up Lucasfilm in order to attract that male audience. But because it's Disney over top of it, you have to try to continue to appeal to your current fan base, which is mostly female. So what do you end up doing? You think that women want to see women on the screen, but in actuality, they want to see feminine women on the screen. What is the most popular thing that Disney puts out that appeals to women? The Disney princesses. People liked Leia in the original Star Wars trilogy. Leia got things done. Leia was a strong, independent princess of a dead planet, but also a savvy senator, allegedly. But she also had a love interest. She also displayed her femininity, especially in, Return of the Jedi. But now, do you see Rey doing anything like that? Or is she just a guy with tits on screen? Really does get the old noggin jogging, doesn't it? Your overlords tried to hide behind the two opposing fan bases fighting each other instead of taking responsibility. So they encourage the hate. They let the hate flow through you, all the while virtue signaling, while they're standing up for minorities, but instead using them as a shield and a weapon. Funny enough, just how government works. Yeah, and Disney, given its sheer size and market cap valuation, is akin to a moderate-sized country, okay? They think people will forget, and yes, maybe they will, but for this moment that they heard the people's voice, it shook them, choosing to stick with their weak leadership, who couldn't handle YouTubers saying mean things online. And when it all would have taken is a true leader to step in, take the reins, take some responsibility, stop discriminating, apologize about the things that they have done wrong, step completely out of politics, be truly inclusive, and they'd be back in business. Until then, they're stuck with you, the yes men, and their plummeting stock. I'm not saying I'm right on all fronts, but I'm open-hearted and refuse to discriminate based off of people telling me how to act, and if there is something I need to apologize for, I would have in a heartbeat, but I didn't say or do anything wrong. People come up to me on daily, shake my hand, and thank me for taking a stand, even people who think differently. 1000%, there's video evidence on that. She's not just making that shit up, going, I have a lot of friends. They live in Canada. One thing is true. Good leadership makes for a better world, leading a healthier and happier people and better opportunity. Look around. We are watching a devastating effect of what bad leadership can do worldwide. Fucking based. What a great statement from Gina Carano, who has firsthand experience as to how disorganized Disney is. What Lucasfilm shit show is out there right now, perfectly capitalizing on what South Park brought to the forefront. Once again, I would argue a day late and a dollar short, but Gina Carano picks up the slack where Matt Stone and Trey Parker left off. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.